Hi everybody, it's Jenna, and I'm going to be talking about A and D and how to teach that in the classroom. There are 4 ways to use articles. There's A, an, the, and something called zero article or no article, which means there's no article used with a noun. All articles must be paired with a noun, so that's something to note when teaching articles. A and an are only used with singular count nouns. A is paired with singular count nouns that start with a consonant sound, as in bear. So you would say, a bear ate my honey. Adjectives can also be inserted in between a and the noun it's paired with. So instead of just saying a bee stung me, you could say a yellow bee stung me. An is paired with singular count nouns that start with a vowel sound. So owl starts with an O sound. So you would say an owl, not a owl. Igloo also starts with a vowel sound, so you would say, I built an igloo in my imagination. The is used in many different ways. As a teacher, I would take several days teaching the. I will share a few ways that the is used, but if you need to reference more ways, go to Folse's book and look at all of the different ways you can use the. Some important ways are if you want to talk about a specific noun, then you would use the. So the carrots next door are not Tigger's. So Tigger couldn't eat all other carrots, but the carrots next door are not Tigger's. So specifically, the carrots next door can't be eaten. You can also use the when nouns are referred to for the second time and other times after. So the first time you would mention carrot, you would say Tigger ate a carrot. Then to refer to that specific carrot again, you would say the carrot was delicious. And again, if you wanted to refer to that same carrot again, you would use the third time and the fourth time and the fifth time. You can also use the to help describe parts of a whole, which is very important for students when they're trying to share stories or to describe something. So for instance, Kanga's house is beautiful. The kitchen is green and the living room is purple. So again, these are the kitchen and the living room are parts of Kanga's house. As we discussed, there are things called zero articles, but they're not used when a, an, and the are not required. So, for instance, when you talk about a noun in general terms, no the is needed. The is needed to describe specific nouns, as we've already discussed. So if you just want to refer to stuffed animals in general, you would not say these stuffed animals are great friends. You would say stuffed animals are great friends. Another thing you don't use the with is abstract nouns or ideas. So in this instance, you wouldn't say sadness, or you wouldn't say the sadness is inevitable. You would say sadness is inevitable. There are many difficulties for English language learners in your ESL classes. And some of those are because some languages don't have articles. Some languages only use a few articles and maybe not some specific ones, like maybe they don't use the, or maybe they don't use an or a. And others just use articles differently. So they're bringing with them whatever they don't use or they do use into the classroom. So we need to remember that as we teach, and just be gracious with them. Words beginning with H or U are difficult because they have different sounds. So remind students that they must listen to the first sound of the word, not just look at the letter. So again, vowel sounds will go with an, and consonant sounds will go with a. So, for instance, hour versus hat. Hour sounds like a vowel sound. So you would say an hour. Hat has a consonant sound at the beginning of the word, so you would say a hat. And again, umbrella versus university. You would say an umbrella and a university. And the other thing is, some students will forget to use articles with singular count nouns. We'll suggest that teachers have students write down the article with the new noun that they learn. For example, if you're teaching students about fruits and vegetables, you would say, if you were to teach them apple, you would maybe tell them to write down an apple, and maybe they would start to memorize those articles that are paired with each noun. And I think that this could be very beneficial for teachers and students. For instance, A, kangaroo. The is very tricky because, as we discussed, there are many ways you can use the. So students want to use the with plural count nouns that refer to a whole category, but they don't need to, as we discussed. Stuffed animals are fuzzy. We don't need the stuffed animals are fuzzy because that's not what we're referring to. And then they also want to use the with abstract nouns, but they don't need to do that either, as we've already discussed. Patience is a virtue. You don't need the patience is a virtue. Errors are just going to happen in advanced classes. Articles are difficult, so we need to remember that even though they've learned articles, they'll still have errors with them. The, again, is complicated to use because there are so many uses, but then also a and can be very confusing. So we just remember to correct them politely, but be gracious with them in their errors. For teaching, I think a worksheet for this instance would be very educational and also versatile. For younger groups, give students a sheet of pictures and tell them to circle words that will begin with a consonant sound. So for instance, if we had clock on a worksheet as a picture, we would tell them to circle this because it starts with a consonant sound. And then later you can have students, after they circle different pictures, to put a with it, and then go over it in class. And again, you could do this with and the if you would want to. For really young ELs, you could tell them to color the pictures as well, and start with a consonant sound or that start with a vowel sound. I think that could give them good practice with just starting to learn words. For older ELs, you might use words instead, and then again tell them to circle it, like this one starts with an, so that might be a worksheet for them. This could also help with their reading skills. So again, this could be very versatile. For advanced learners, you could use sentences instead. Have them circle the ones that maybe need an or a or the, and then go over those. Other thing you could do to adapt this worksheet would be to use it as a drill or other exercise by saying things out loud. So maybe you say the word hour out loud and tell them to write down an hour. or you're reading the sentence and telling them to write down the sentence with a blank. That gives them writing skills as well. But this is just what I thought of and had, and I think that teaching articles is very important, and we need to remember that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope that you learned something. And again, here's my reference. Took a lot of this from Folsa's book. So again, you can go back and read maybe the uses for the, and then to reiterate a and am. Thank you so much. Bye.